In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the opinions of others. But what if true happiness and peace come not from external validation, but from within? In this video, we explore 10 key Buddhist lessons that empower you to prioritize your inner peace and self-worth over the judgments of others. By focusing on self-acceptance, growth, and letting go of the need for approval, you can learn to navigate life's challenges with a sense of calm and confidence. Focus on inner peace. True happiness, as Buddha taught, does not come from external sources, whether it's approval, success, or possessions. Instead, it arises from within, cultivated through inner peace. In today's world, many of us chase after fleeting external rewards, hoping they'll bring lasting joy. But the Buddha's teachings remind us that happiness built on external factors is fragile and temporary. To achieve lasting peace, we must focus on nurturing our inner state. Inner peace is found when we let go of the need for constant validation from others and learn to accept ourselves fully. It's about being content with who we are, right here, right now. The world will always have opinions, judgments, and expectations, but none of these define our worth unless we allow them to. Buddha encouraged his followers to cultivate a still mind, free from the constant chatter of worry and fear. Meditation, mindfulness, and self-awareness are tools we can use to calm the mind and return to this state of inner peace. When we shift our focus inward, we begin to realize that we are enough, just as we are. We stop looking for happiness in the approval of others or the validation of society. Instead, we learn that peace comes from accepting ourselves unconditionally, regardless of outside opinions. By prioritizing inner peace, we unlock a joy that is consistent, resilient, and independent of the ever-changing external world. Embrace solitude. In a world that constantly pulls us toward external validation and social connection, solitude can feel intimidating. However, Buddha's teachings remind us that solitude is not a form of loneliness, but a vital space for personal growth and inner clarity. Solitude allows us to disconnect from the noise of the world and reconnect with our true selves. It is in this quiet space that we gain deeper understanding and insight into our own thoughts, emotions, and life's purpose. Embracing solitude doesn't mean isolating ourselves from others. It's about creating time for reflection and self-awareness. In these moments alone, we can better understand our desires, our fears, and our motivations, which allows us to live more authentically. Buddha often emphasized the importance of retreating into quiet spaces to meditate and reflect, as this practice opens the path to wisdom and emotional resilience. When we embrace solitude, we stop relying on external distractions to fill the void. Instead, we begin to cultivate inner peace and self-sufficiency. Solitude provides us with the opportunity to listen deeply to ourselves and trust our own inner guidance. It helps us build emotional strength, resilience, and the clarity to face life's challenges with a calm and steady mind. Rather than fearing time alone, we should embrace it as an essential part of our spiritual and emotional growth. By doing so, we create a solid foundation for living with authenticity, peace, and self-awareness. Self-approval is key. Buddha's teachings highlight the importance of self-love and self-approval as the foundation of inner peace. Many of us seek approval and validation from others, believing that external affirmation will give us a sense of worth. However, this cycle of seeking validation is never-ending and leaves us vulnerable to the shifting opinions of others. Buddha encourages us to look inward and understand that true approval must come from within. Self-approval is not about becoming arrogant or dismissive of others' feedback. Rather, it's about recognizing our inherent value and accepting ourselves unconditionally, flaws and all. When we embrace self-approval, we break free from the need to constantly seek external recognition. Instead of looking for others to define our worth, we acknowledge that we are enough as we are. This internal sense of validation empowers us to make decisions based on our true desires and values, rather than trying to conform to others' expectations. It builds resilience against criticism and rejection because we are no longer dependent on others' opinions for our happiness. Buddha taught that when we love and approve of ourselves, we strengthen our inner peace and develop a solid foundation for facing life's challenges. By practicing self-approval, we align ourselves with our true nature, embracing our strengths and weaknesses without judgment. This inner acceptance is the key to living authentically, confidently, and peacefully, free from the external pressures that once defined our worth. Rejection is growth. In our lives, rejection is often seen as a failure or personal setback. However, Buddha's teachings offer a transformative perspective on rejection. It is not something to fear or avoid, but an opportunity for growth and redirection. Buddha taught that suffering, while uncomfortable, is an inevitable part of the human experience, and it is through facing challenges like rejection that we can grow stronger and wiser. Instead of viewing rejection as a sign of inadequacy, we can choose to see it as a learning experience. When we are rejected, it allows us the space to reevaluate our choices, refine our goals, and better understand ourselves. Rejection can be a powerful teacher, guiding us toward a path that is more aligned with our true purpose. Buddha's wisdom encourages us to embrace rejection as a form of redirection, rather than letting it define us. By shifting our perspective, we can let go of the emotional burden rejection often brings. Instead of feeling discouraged or defeated, we can use rejection as a tool for personal development. It strengthens our emotional resilience and helps us cultivate the wisdom to understand that not everything is meant for us, and that there are always greater opportunities awaiting us. Through the lens of Buddha's teachings, rejection is not an end, but a step in the journey toward growth. It's an invitation to trust the process of life, knowing that each experience, whether positive or negative, shapes us into the person we are meant to become. Let go of others' opinions. One of the greatest freedoms we can achieve in life is letting go of the need to live up to others' opinions. Buddha taught that the judgments of others are often reflections of their own thoughts, fears, and insecurities, not an accurate reflection of our true selves. When we base our self-worth on the approval of others, we relinquish our power and become prisoners to external validation. Buddha's wisdom encourages us to free ourselves from this cycle of seeking approval and instead focus on living authentically. The opinions of others are fleeting and subjective. One person may praise us, while another may criticize us, but neither opinion defines who we truly are. When we release the need for external validation, we create space for personal freedom and peace. Buddha emphasized the importance of being true to oneself, regardless of the expectations or judgments of others. This doesn't mean we become indifferent to constructive feedback, but it means we no longer allow others' perceptions to dictate our self-worth or actions. Letting go of others' opinions frees us to live from a place of authenticity. We can make decisions based on our own values, beliefs, and desires, not on what others think we should do. By accepting that people's judgments are often based on their own experiences and perspectives, we can cultivate the wisdom to ignore the noise and stay grounded in our true selves. This practice of non-attachment leads to inner peace, allowing us to live confidently and unapologetically. No to people-pleasing. People-pleasing is a common trap that many of us fall into, often driven by a deep-seated fear of rejection or the desire to be liked. Buddha's teachings encourage us to shift our focus away from the approval of others and prioritize our inner peace and well-being. The constant drive to meet others' expectations can drain our energy, distort our true selves, and lead to feelings of resentment or burnout. Buddha taught that by living authentically and setting healthy boundaries, we align ourselves with our highest truth. When we continuously put others' needs above our own, we neglect our own happiness and peace. People-pleasing creates an imbalance in our lives, where we prioritize others' comfort over our own. Buddha's wisdom reminds us that self-care and personal boundaries are not selfish. They are necessary for maintaining mental, emotional, and spiritual health. By learning to say no and respecting our own needs, we stop allowing external expectations to dictate our lives. Saying no is not about being rude or unkind. It is an act of self-respect. Buddha encouraged us to live with integrity and authenticity, which means not sacrificing our peace to please others. When we take care of ourselves, we are better equipped to serve others in a genuine, loving way. People-pleasing often stems from insecurity, but by building our self-worth through mindfulness and self-acceptance, we learn to prioritize our peace, fostering healthier relationships and a more fulfilling life. Stop social comparison. In a world dominated by social media and constant comparison, it's easy to lose sight of our own journey. Buddha taught that comparing ourselves to others only leads to dissatisfaction and discontent. Every person's path is unique, shaped by their own experiences, challenges, and lessons. When we focus on what others have or are achieving, we often overlook the value and progress in our own lives. Comparison breeds insecurity, envy, and a sense of inadequacy, diverting us from our true purpose. Instead of measuring ourselves against others, Buddha's teachings encourage us to embrace our own journey with gratitude and appreciation. Everyone is walking their own path, and it's essential to understand that the struggles and successes we face are uniquely ours to learn from. By shifting our focus inward, we can recognize and celebrate our personal progress, no matter how big or small. This mindset fosters contentment and a deep sense of self-worth, free from the negativity of competition. Buddha's wisdom also reminds us that the outside world often presents a distorted version of reality. Social comparison is based on incomplete pictures. What we see on the surface rarely tells the full story. When we stop comparing ourselves to others, we free ourselves to focus on our own growth and development, cultivating gratitude for the journey we are on. By trusting in our own path and letting go of comparison, we find peace and contentment in who we are, just as we are. The journey toward inner peace and authentic living begins with letting go of external validation and embracing your true self. Buddha's teachings show us that happiness, self-approval, and growth come from within, and that our path is uniquely our own. By releasing the need for approval, comparing ourselves to others, or pleasing people, we reclaim our power and peace. If this video resonated with you, subscribe to Monk Mindset for more wisdom on living a balanced, fulfilling life.